Everyone, welcome to another episode of The Stone Genius. My name is Ro. You know me, I'm the Stone Genius. I'm often stoned. I'm always a genius. I am super excited to welcome to the program tonight someone who I've been looking forward to speaking with for a few weeks now. So we've tried to get this on the schedule due to some scheduling conflicts with me. Now's the time. So welcome to the program, Psychic Empath Raven Willow. Welcome to the show.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. Hold on.
Yeah.
Now I'm afraid to hit the applause. So to fill everyone else in, we have given this, we have been talking at length before we hit the record button, but as soon as I hit the record button and do the intro, somehow Raven and I were not able to be connected anymore. So I am super excited that you're on the program. I'm super excited that now everyone gets to hear your voice as well. So welcome to the program. Did I just lose you again? Okay, everyone, we're back. And I actually have Raven. We've talked, it seems like we talked about 20 minutes now, even though the people have only heard your voice for a couple seconds. So I feel like I just need to be quiet.
So I'm Raven Willow. What I do is I read people's energies, but I also go into their past lives, whether that's on this life or in other worlds, other universes, to help them in this life.
So how did this first come up? Like when you say that you're able to read people's energy, is that something you had to learn how to do, or is that something that was a natural gift that you've focused on and cultivated? So how did that come to be?
So, like in my...
Sorry about that. Everyone heard that we just got disconnected, so I do have Raven back. So we were talking about energy. How are you able to read energy? Or when were you able to identify that you had that gift?
Pretty much from like a very, very young age. But the empath part, like anybody that is an empath, I mean, there's different levels of it. I've got like the top level, so it's like a blessing and a curse because it can like completely wipe me out.
What is the exact definition of an empath? I guess even as a genius, I always say I don't know everything, so I guess I don't. What is the definition of an empath?
So you literally feel everything and everyone around you, and you can literally feel those things as if it is yourself. And you're extremely empathetic. Like animals flock to you while you're a target for any bad person because you're just like a healing kind of person. And then depending on how strong of an empath you are, that depends on how much energy you pick up. So I pretty much pick up everything from everywhere. So that's why
that has to be annoying.
Well, you learn to put a bubble around yourself, and empaths we self-isolate a lot. It's very important so that we can heal.
Right, recovery.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when is it? Because I don't know how this works. So is it in the when you're feeling the energy? Does it have to do with their proximity to you? Does it have to do with their within? Like you can see them physically or even virtually. How do you make that connection? Can it be done over distance, or does it have to be something that you have to be there to experience?
They can be right in front of me, or it can be done over distance.
Okay.
I can remote view. Yeah, I do readings over Zoom. If they're done over Zoom, that everything is written like out really professionally in like a PDF with pictures and references and different things. If somebody's live in front of me, I just have my book that I just write in.
And I don't know how much of what you're describing now is what I saw, but you had posted within the last few days of us recording this, you did a reading that you posted on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I watched that. So I did see you were using some slides because they were remote. They were not with you. So
No.
you were recording that, but you were also showing slides not to just to them, but everyone that was watching it as well that had some information on that. So
Yeah.
how many? Because it seemed like that is something that you created. I mean, all that information. So how many times do you have to meet with someone, be around someone, or can it just happen once and you're able to glean a certain amount of information? Hey everyone, we're back. Sorry, you guys have no idea. So to you all, it was a split second. Oh, we lost one or another, and that was it. But for us, it's been quite a few minutes. So we have now reconnected. We're going through a computer system instead of the phone line, which I'm sure there's exactly. So, Raven, are you there?
I'm here.
Yay!
You know, maybe I should use this voice, because if I use this voice, maybe it won't have any troubles.
Let's not do that.
Okay.
So, no rabid Wolverine voice. So, alrighty then. Wow, that was quick. Generally, people seem to like that. I'm not sure you really like the rabid chipmunk voice there.
It's
something.
It reminds me of,
Yeah.
sucking on helium balloons and,
It does. Okay, so we were talking about we were talking about the feeling energy. So, and because when you say this, and this is when I'm always thinking in the background, because I have always said that I've been able to read people. And it's not like, oh, they're having a good day or they're having a bad day. It's like I can tell if someone's good or evil. I can tell. It seems like in my life, I've had a much better understanding of who people really are than a lot around me. But I just always, so I never really thought of it about being anything special. But it not that it sounds like your gift, but it sounds like it's your.
No, but it is.
Okay.
You are an empath.
Okay, so so what you're feeling is kind of because it's weird, because it seems like my wife and I have been together for 27 years, and I've said, how often have I been wrong about a person? And I think it's been 3 times that I've been literally wrong, like I just totally misjudged someone. But I just have always felt like I've had this keen understanding of, and I don't know why that was, because it wasn't like I was noticing like things about them. It just was a feeling I was getting.
Yeah, and see, there's different levels of empaths. And so, like, if you want to explore your gifts further, that's things I do with the people too, because it can be scary to people and they don't want to go down some dark, creepy road and
Right.
whatever. But your gifts might even be greater than you even know. But see, like I'm always pushing to see what's next.
So what does that entail? You pushing yourself to see what's next?
I'm just like that in life in general. Like, I'm a total history nerd. I'm always asking why. Because if you don't learn from your past, you're just going to repeat it.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly questioning everything. I don't take anything at face value, and I just dig into everything. So it's like that for like my earthly life. It's like that for like anything in my psychic world. Sorry, there's people riding motorcycles up and down my street right now. Can't help that. But yeah, so I'm just always like, why? And I never stop asking the question.
So do you, one of the things I find myself doing a lot now is resolving conflict in my life. Like if I may be doing something and then I may say something, I'll be like, oh, that's a conflict because I'm doing it in another context. So I feel like I need to resolve that. Like I feel like I'm always trying to resolve right and wrong, good and bad. And I'm going to use a really bad example, but it's the only one that came to mind. So my wife, she had surgery, so she has some new parts, let's say, and they're very nice. And so for a long time, women would just say, "Those are fake. I can't believe," and they would just squeeze them. And I never had a problem with that because it was a girl. But I was like, so one day I just thought to myself that. I was like, how about if a guy did that? I'd be upset. So then I had to resolve. I'm either okay with people doing it or people not doing it, which I chose the people not doing it for the future. But I always feel like I'm trying to resolve something, that my pushing myself is making sure that I don't have conflict, that I don't say one thing and do another. And I feel like, as you say, you're pushing yourself, that you're trying to do that. You're trying to find the truth, which means resolving some of these peripheral things like conflict.
Yeah, so you don't want to live in what humans have created for the world. You know there's something wrong with this.
Right.
You know it's not right. So, and you had to resolve like a misogyny in your brain too,
right,
with that conversation.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, because
okay
it was
touching my wife, but not.
And
I
didn't mind, yeah. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, and I did. And here's another one I just thought of, and this probably would have been a better one to start with. I was complaining. I like to complain about people that buy really nice cars and then they like have to take up 2 or 3 parking spaces because they don't want anyone to touch their car, ding it, or anything like that. And I always like, don't buy that nice a car then. But then one day I was at work and someone said something about my watch. And I go, they go, I've never seen that watch before. I go, this is my beater watch that I wear to work. And they go, what do you mean? I go, well, I wouldn't wear any of my nice watches here. And so what that, in my mind, I started thinking about that. My watches were those nice cars. Because I was like, why buy this if I'm not going to I wasn't wearing my watches that I love so much. And so I had to So I was like, because I didn't want to be that. So I either had to say, it's okay to have these things and then protect them, hide them under a bushel so that no one sees them, or do I wear them and not care? Because one of my watches, my wife gave to me on our first anniversary. So it's 26 years old now, and it means, and so I don't want to just take it. There's a certain part of me that's afraid that something may happen to it, but I needed to decide that to kind of get past that fear on this part, because I was like, I'm not wearing it. So what good is it? I mean, what happiness does it bring me? So I'm always trying to resolve that. And that's one thing that watching some of your videos, listening to your talk, reading your bio and everything, that, I'm not always the best with other people. And so when I see someone that is out there actively helping others understand their world, their place in it, and maybe how to react to it, I think that's I like that very much. And that's one reason I was so looking forward to speaking with you.
But see, I always say I don't people very good. And I don't, because I'm an empath.
Have you ever had your IQ tested? Because a lot of high IQ people, because here's the thing, a lot of people get things confused. Like one of the things growing up in the 70s, and I was very hyper, they said I had ADD. My parents said I had ADD, and I think they talked a doctor into it, and they said, but then later on, doctors said, no, he doesn't have ADD, he's a genius. But because my parents didn't know how to tell the difference. Like someone with ADD may have difficulty holding a job or keeping a relationship.
There's a difference between people that can't function in society, and like, I'm a Libra. I'm very like sociable, and when I am out,
happy birthday then to you. Oh, hold on. I'm hitting all sorts of different buttons. Then I'm a Libra as well. My birthday was last week, so I'm a Libra, and I totally agree with that. Yeah. Yes.
I couldn't even do these podcasts if I wasn't a social person. So I don't have those kind of problems. I don't have those psychological problems, right, or whatever they're labeled.
Right.
I just don't people very good, because I see the bad and I feel like it's very draining for me to be out in society for long periods of time.
Yes. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. Because you see that
So it's not that I don't have like my group of people and, you know, they can be around me anytime because they don't drain me.
Right.
You know what I mean? But good to be out in public around people that I would not choose to be around for hours on end is very draining.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can't. I just, to be around people that I don't want to be around, like you say, is draining. It is just unbearable for me. And I think I'm much like you. A lot of people. So
you'll have to ask yourself this, because a lot of starseeds, not just empaths, but a lot of starseeds have a lot of difficulties just peopling. Because we don't understand this like violence and anger and, you know, war and greed and these kinds of things that just seem to like permeate humans.
Right.
And we're just constantly like, I literally take myself out of humans a little bit, even though I, you know, obviously am one, but I know my alien lineage too. And so I know why I have these thoughts, because it's from a lot of past lives too. So I have very strong convictions about them.
Right.
So even like money, I had very strong convictions, and I had to like get myself to a place where I could accept money in my life.
So yeah, and that sounds very much. I think very much like me. Like I don't have a problem with expensive taste. I do have taste. I do have things, but I am not motivated by money at all. Like zero motivation for money. And that's
I'm not saying work hard, buy something nice for yourself, but like you need to help the world too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't need 12 homes and islands and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, in where I live in Kansas City and work, it's one of the most affluent zip codes where I work in the entire nation. And so you see a lot of, I'm not a car person. Now I will tell you, I watched your video today. That's one difference between you and I. I am not a car person at all. So I will tell you that. But you know, to me, a car is I have a nice Lexus SUV, but it's 19 years old also. And I'm 56, and if it lasts me the rest of my life, I'd be a very happy guy. I love that car because I need it to go from point A to point B. And that's all I really needed to do. But I did laugh at your thing, your car stalking that you were doing today. Or I don't know if that was today, but recently I saw that video.
It was yesterday.
Okay.
That's not my dream car, but it was the same year.
So what car? Because I don't even know. Hold on. My guess was it looked like, because I just saw this. It looked like an SS or something like that. A Camaro.
Yeah, it was the 1969 SS Camaro.
Okay.
Yeah. And I grew up with race car drivers and racetracks, and
right.
I know like Porsches and that kind of thing too, but when I see like American muscle cars, I'm like, hello.
Yeah, and see, that's just never been me. I've talked about when I was a photographer, our church it's a gigantic church, has a huge car show. Any car you could ever think of and cars you can't think of are going to be there. And I went to photograph it once, and that's just not my mind. I don't see those lines. I can appreciate a pretty car, and that's nice, but that's really the extent of it for me. I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's a nice color. Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. Those are cool lights. I mean, that.
I don't even need a collection of cars. I just need my dream car.
And that is, what is your exact dream car?
Well, see, I have my normal car, which is a Jetta. But, you know, if I have my dream car, it's a 1969 Mach 1 Mustang.
Okay. Yeah.
With a blower.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's why I like car stalking.
I don't, once again, I don't care about cars, but if they were like, you could have one car mint condition, what would it be? It would be a 1974 Toyota FJ40, like their Jeep tile.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and the reason I picked 74 is a good year, is the year my wife was born. I was born in 67. So that's why, and it's a great body style. not only for her, but also for the car. Hey-oh. Okay, so hold on. So I also want to talk to you about, you had mentioned past lives in here as well.
Yeah.
So what is your take on, so there's a lot of things that may be converging here because I have a ton of notes, because sometimes
Yeah.
I get,
We're going to converge. It's okay.
okay, so let's instead of past lives, let's jump to the Akashic record real quick. Can you explain to the audience, because I think I know, but I probably am not the person to be explaining it, but what the Akashic record is?
So it's been closed off from Earth for quite a long time. Started to be opened when the first age of Aquarius happened. Remember, back to the 60s, all kinds of awesomeness was happening, people making changes, right?
Right.
Then the 70s, my generation were called the Indigo Children. So it was still opening, and now it is available because we have enough people on Earth that have raised their vibrations in order to be able to access information.
And so here's what I had written down, and it's, I will tell you, it's very hard even on Wikipedia, because like most places you can go to Wikipedia and they're going to have like this very long, very detailed information, but even on the Akashic records on Wikipedia, it was very, very limited. This is what I wrote down: a compendium of all universal events, thoughts, words, emotions, and intent of all past, present, and future events, all entities and life forms, meaning not just human.
Yeah, exactly.
So but
that's where you get your alien lineage from, is when I go into the Akashic records.
So one of the questions I wrote down though real quick was that how would we, like as humans, as it's opening up, and I guess it could just be where more or less it was translated to us, but I mean like I wouldn't even know what to look. I mean, like if I was trying to find some information that's about I don't even know that I would know where to look.
Well, you can look on places like my website. There's other people that are really good, like Debbie Solaris. Watch things on the Gaia app. You'll get really educated there really quick. So it is the knowledge of all the universes of all time. So you get your past lives from everywhere.
So
possible futures.
So do you think that is, so like our past lives may not be human form, is what you're kind of maybe saying?
Every single one of us is a starseed, and yes, but not all of humans obviously are awakened enough to realize.
So, and this is just the genius part of me thinking, because I always come up with questions. Do you think that would be, as you're becoming open to it, I'm trying to figure out how you can, like, maybe that's why you're shut off from your past lives, because now we're human. So what we think about, what our minds are able to understand, is as a human form. I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about aliens once, and he was talking about how we humans share like 99% of our DNA with chimpanzees, but we can't we can't. They can do some basic stuff, but we can't communicate with them where there's that much difference, even though we share 99% of the DNA. And he said, if we share 99% of DNA with an alien, we may not know how to communicate with them. So when I was making notes for this, it made me kind of think about how if you had a past life, and once you started talking about this, it really clicked that maybe that's why we're shut off from the past lives, because it's not in the form that we're accustomed to. So all we can do currently is think about things in a human aspect.
Well, if you want to kind of think about what your past lives would be on Earth, even if you're not a history nerd like I am, whatever you are interested in earthly history, most likely I have found has to do with a past life of yours. So even if you just like, I don't know, artwork from Egypt, but
Right.
you don't really follow it or whatever, like whatever you're attracted to in history has something to do with a past life on this earth. So even if you just love going to this certain place on vacation, like that's your spot,
Right.
there's something there that is drawing you there. You've been there before.
Right.
So, and then when you get into the past lives of aliens and how you communicate with them, it's telepathically. So psychics communicate telepathically. That's how we hear things. That's how we hear spirits talk to us.
Right.
I can see everything from your grandma to whatever it is. It takes a lot to shock me, put it that way.
Are you able to communicate with them? So I had someone on the program before that was talking about being able to communicate with people that had already passed. And my big thing was like, if someone's able to communicate, and I don't understand, like I say, I'm a genius, but I'm also an idiot. Like if you could communicate from beyond the grave, I never understood why it was like charades. Like they could never like just say, oh, well, your mother wants you to do this. It seems like it's always, they're pointing to a chair. Oh, well, that means my mom, because that was my mom's chair. Well, and it just seems like to me, it should have been a little bit more straightforward.
But it's not them, it's the person receiving.
Oh, see?
If your mind is too busy to receive, you're not going to receive the whole thing.
Ah. So someone that was more in tune would be able to get more of the message.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll sit there and just like have a literal conversation back and forth with a spirit. Like they're right here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And with aliens too, but that's telepathically.
Yeah. So a side note. So any point in time in our current human history up to now, so it can't be in the future because we don't know what that holds. Do you feel like you would have been perfect in a certain time frame? And if so, why? Like if you live, like now you're living at this time, but like if you lived in the 1920s or the 1840s or the 1412s, I don't know. Just do you ever feel like you probably would have fit in better in a certain era than what we're currently in?
No, I know all of my Earth life, and no.
Okay.
They were all pretty much hell,
So
But
how much information do you have?
I had to have these experiences to understand humans more.
Right.
I come from like my alien race breaks down to you would have to. This is why it's good to have like video and things to look at so that people know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But I'm Lyra Vega and Arcturian and Andromedan and a whole bunch of other things. Like I've been around the block a whole bunch of times. But there's a very peaceful place, very utopian. There was enough for everybody, clean air, clean energy. That's the way the ancient world used to be. So if you actually, I'm going to take back my answer to your previous question.
Okay.
There was a time when I was, if you've heard of the Anunnaki, I was a part of them. I was part of linking all of these ancient sites all over the world are connected with the ley line.
Right.
So the entire world was connected. So when archaeologists or treasure hunters or what have you go looking for Atlantis was the entire planet. It was not one singular place. It was the entire planet linked together. They had smart, clean technology. They were not ancient, you know, people with just some stone tools that
Right.
didn't know anything. But these monoliths, these temples, all the pyramids, it's all there for a reason, and it was all built on energetic hotspots for a reason. And I was part of activating that. So I would say that was probably the best time I've ever had on Earth. But like, yeah, human experiences have not had such good human experiences.
Have
But
you
yeah,
have you ever seen the movie Defending Your Life with Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep? I think it was
no,
out about 1992. So basically, they have to defend their life, so they die and they have to decide whether they go forward or go back to Earth. And so they go to this thing, and I'm gonna say spoiler alert, even though this movie's over 30 years old. But they go to the Hall of Past Lives. And so, Meryl Streep's looking, and it's like a shooting range, like an indoor shooting range. So they're standing in these things that would look like a shooting range. So you're looking in, you're standing, you can't really see what's going on in the booth next to you. You just know something's going on. And you see, and so like Meryl Streep sees, and she's like, I think Albert Brooks goes, what were you in a past life? And she goes, I think I was royalty. The way that what she was seeing. And then when they go to he's being chased by a lion, and she goes, what are you? And he goes, I think I'm dinner.
yeah,
Yeah. And I just thought it was funny because, but that's how, in that movie, I always thought it would be interesting because I've had a few experiences with deja vu, like very, very specific, like
yeah.
deja vu.
That's important to pay attention to.
And it's weird because they were all, I mean, it was always future, very far in the future too, like years. Like I would know something for years. And so it always made me think, like, how would I know? I mean, because it was so odd that I was like, yeah, I've definitely done that. Or I've been caught in the middle of it happening where I'm like, I think this is going to be a deja vu incident. So I don't know if that's, some of them, I guess, I feel like I've done that before, but there have been very, very many that I felt like I had the premonition and then the deja vu. It wasn't deja vu because it happened before. I just in my soul it had happened before.
Yeah, a premonition is different than deja vu. Deja vu, like you've literally seen it, lived it before.
Okay. See, and that's what I would call them premonitions up until that point, because I knew about it in advance, but it hadn't happened. So for me, it was like, I just always like, I know this is going to happen. And I just remember this one, and this happened back in the 70s. And the thing that was so weird is that in my premonition, someone came at me on a motorcycle, which was weird because I was like, we're too young. It didn't make any sense. But then like within 2 years, mopeds came around. And so what I had been living before or seeing before or whatever, it was exactly that instance where the person came up on me instead of a motorcycle was a moped. But everything else was exactly the same.
Or when you're awake?
It was when I was awake. And when it happened, I knew it was happening as it was happening. As this person was coming to me, I knew what my reaction was going to be and how I was going to handle it. And so and that's the one thing. It made me feel like, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say it was a comforting feeling. It was kind of an odd feeling, but at the same time, I knew that that nothing bad was going to, I mean, I just knew I'd already been through this, or I don't know, prepared. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So one of the things that I wrote down.
Lives too.
Okay, so one of the things I wrote down is the Akashic record, because it says that it is past, present, and future events. So is it almost like a book that's already been written completely, and we're just living the page?
That is written wrong.
Okay. So, because part of me, I've heard people say, well, everything's already happened. Everything's been written. We're just living our lives like one page at a time. So the book's already been written. We're just getting to this page. So you don't believe on that. But so how is it that past, present, and future, or the future events, not recorded until they actually happen?
Past events are there.
Right.
Current events can be seen.
Right.
Future events are possibilities.
Okay.
So I can lead someone down and give them information on their life and their past lives
Right.
to lead them down the path they should be on this life with all of that information and help them unlock their gifts and with that information. But I can also read them myself. So before I even read Akashic records, I just literally have the ability to go into someone's head and kind of peel them apart like an onion and be like, yep, that, and that, and that, and know everything about the person. So that's how I read people before I meet them too.
So are you ever wrong or incorrect on your feelings or readings?
Any psychic can be wrong because once you open yourself up, if you have a lot of people that want to talk, you have to learn how to filter or you're going to get a lot of people trying to talk.
Right.
So you have to get practiced at it. And two, you can totally be wrong because you're still going to get bits and pieces of information, or you might not be wrong, but the person might not recognize that information yet. So I still keep things in my book and I'll circle them and put a question mark, maybe I'm wrong and maybe it's not recognized yet.
Okay.
But it doesn't happen very often, but I will totally just be like, okay, and let's move on.
Right.
Nobody's perfect. Come on. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
So in your opinion with aliens, because right now there's a lot of stuff in the news about seeing craft, UAPs, UFOs, and the government's like, we don't know what they are, which I don't know if that's really good. I always tell my wife when I can't find something and it's right there in front of me, because I'll say maybe in the universe I just popped in from, it wasn't there. And I go, but she goes, or maybe you just didn't see it. I go, which is better? I go, would you want me to not see something that's right in front of my eyes, or would you rather me be in a universe where it literally wasn't there in front of my eyes? So we have that discussion back and forth, but I was going to have a question, but I don't remember what it was at this point. But
well, let me ask you.
Yes.
Have you ever lost time?
Not that I can think of as an adult. No. I mean, I may have as a child, but I may have as a child, but I don't remember. I feel like at some point I remember there being lost time, but not in the way. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I was talking about UFOs and UAPs. So the government's talking about that a lot. So if we're in not contact, do you think that they will reveal themselves, or is that something that do we not even think about that? Is that not we need to worry about ourselves?
No, we will be coexisting at one point. Yeah. The next year, 2024, is leading up to the next year of Aquarius, which is 2025. So things are going to start opening and opening and opening a lot more. You're going to start feeling a lot more shifts going on with higher vibrational energy and positive things coming in. And
so how long will this age of Aquarius last?
Well,
or do they have, or is it not like generational, it lasts for 15 years or 19 years? What, I don't even know what
it's like Libra season.
Okay.
But it's the age of Aquarius it's considered a season, but I haven't looked up the actual dates of it yet. I just know it's 2025.
Okay. It's just interesting that all this stuff is coming out now, because they say, we don't know what it is, and it's like, that doesn't make me.
I want people to understand that the stuff that they're watching on the news about this, like, yes, those things are real, but the news is going to turn it into a threat, which
Right.
is the way that they're already positioning themselves, right?
Right.
These things have been around long before anybody of us and anything else. Nobody's been blown to bits yet.
Right.
So people need to be like, sorry, but not idiots and just follow the sheep and be like, oh my God, they said on the fucking news they're coming to kill us all. Like, we'd already all be dead.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, come on.
Well, I say that all the time. I go, if someone can come across a universe, I'm going to go ahead and say that fighting will be futile. You can go ahead and try it if you want, but I'll be over here. I will just say, as a genius, if there's someone they're going to come up and try to contact, it's going to be me, not some of these people that I work with. I will tell you that much. So, but I've often said, especially as I get older, I go, I don't want to die peacefully in my sleep. I go, I would rather there be an alien invasion of epic proportions, because that would be the way to go out, I tell you. But I once again agree. I watch a lot of things. I watch a lot of Ancient Aliens, Skinwalker Ranch, you know, and I do. So actually, I won't. I'm
very familiar with that place, actually.
Oh, you are? So someone that, and I will not name them because I'm not sure that it could be bad to out someone from a genius IQ society, like a high IQ society, but I'm not going to use their name. But there is someone that is intimately involved with Skinwalker Ranch and the Ancient Aliens show and things like that, that is part of the high IQ society. That it was really weird because we communicated a lot. And then about 9 months ago, zip, nothing, dark. And I know they're still doing something because I know that they're working for the government now, but it's just weird that they went dark. And it was weird because, to me, this person, if you watch them, let's just say an average person without an open mind may be like, this sounds a little crazy. And, but, you know, the government is taking it seriously. And I think we should too. I mean, I would love to see aliens. I tell you, gosh dang it.
If you
That'd make my day.
Watch any of Dr. Stephen Greer's, like, the documentary Unacknowledged, he talks about a lot of things in there and a lot of actual history of our government and UFOs. But it's a very good documentary to watch because he talks about how he calls them to him. He does it in groups. And he hosts events and things like that, but I do that too, but I just do it by myself. So I can have a little light orb show going on right here.
Really?
In my backyard. Yeah.
That was going to be my next thing.
Telepathically.
So, and here's part of the thing that sucks for me is that my personality, I'm a big personality. So sometimes people don't always... Things I may say, they'll be like, oh, I find that hard to believe. But then my wife chimes in and they're like, oh, really? So like I've always said that there was one time, the only time I've seen something that was odd was 1990 or 91. I was driving down down a street in Overland Park, Kansas, getting ready to go out. So it was either a Friday or a Saturday night. And all the traffic stopped, like in the middle of a 45 mile an hour. And I had a Jeep, and I stopped and I stood up I didn't have a top on my Jeep. I stood up and was watching the sky. So this thing came, and it just looked like a very bright light, like a comet or a meteor. I guess a meteor would be better. So it was going, and it was just booking across the sky, but it didn't have like a tail. It was just a bright light. And then it stopped. And then it did all these weird things, like moves that I've never seen anything do before. And
I knew it.
And then phew, the other direction. So here's the weird thing is that, so I was like 24 at the time. And I remember I was going out. So I remember that I had my Jeep, And then I remember that I was going out that night. So that's how I know it was either a Friday or a Saturday night, and I can kind of pinpoint the year. But I could also pinpoint, because what really set it off was the next night on the news. The weatherman said there were a lot of reports of a UFO sighting last night. And we checked with blah, blah, blah. And they said that it was a Russian satellites falling out of the sky. And it wasn't until then that I called bullshit, because I don't even think I thought about it again. But after they said that, I was like, no, that is something, when it falls, it continues to fall, not stop and freak out. So it sounds like you've seen that light before too. And it's not like it was close. It was a long ways away. But when I tell that story, no one ever believes me. My wife's like, oh, I saw this flying craft like fly over my head down a street during broad daylight, and everyone believes that. I'm like, I don't even know what it was. It was a bright light, and people are like, no, that's not. You didn't see that.
So you have to believe it in your mind too.
Oh yeah.
So like literally, people think I am absolutely nuts, and I just don't care, because I know reality, and I know the things that come out of my mouth are completely insane to,
Right.
Most of the population. But that's okay, because they still need to be said, and people need to learn about this stuff. So I'm like, I don't care. I'm just this is me, and here we go.
Yeah, and I'm very much like that, but I'm more of a prick about it. Like, if people don't believe me, I'll be like, who's a member of multiple high IQ societies? And then I'll get and I'll be like, exactly. I mean, so I'm pretty much of a dick about it. But yeah, I don't care either. I know what I saw. No one can tell me that I saw anything other than something not of this world. There's no fucking way that we've had that.
Sites. Like, I'm sorry, you can't. I grew up around hunters. I don't like hunting because I'm an animal whisperer. But anyway, you can't tell me that people that go out in the woods hunting spend all kinds of time in nature. Like, I spend a lot of time in nature, hiking and whatever. I'm not a wildlife expert, but I sure as hell would know what the hell a bear looks like versus a Bigfoot.
Right.
The people have to, you can't just blow people off because you've never seen it. No, people didn't believe there were gorillas for a long time either.
I know.
Come on.
Well, and then, I heard something, and this fact blew me away, although I've seen videos that would dispute it. They said that the first dinosaur skeleton wasn't found until the 1800s, which means that everyone before 1800 that year had no idea dinosaurs roamed the earth.
No, that's not true. Native Americans documented dinosaurs. So.
That's what I mean. That's the dispute. But they're saying that the first fossilized records weren't found from the 1800s. But I agree with you. There are cave pictures of like a triceratops.
Yeah.
And it's like, how the fuck did they know that there was a triceratops?
Yeah.
Good guess, maybe, perhaps.
Yeah, good guess.
Yeah.
But they find fossils, they find bones, they have oral histories that have been passed down. They know very well about ancient creatures and different things. Like, native stories should never be dismissed.
Right. And so I was going to ask you, do you think that the Native Americans are more in tune as opposed to our Western culture? Because I think that we do lose sight of a lot of things. We get tuned out, and that can't happen, or we don't have the belief in certain things, which is weird because people believe in the weirdest things. But sometimes we lose, I don't know, that childlike quality where we always have that curiosity on whether things are real and how they are. But I just feel like the Native Americans, from what I learned, they were much more, it was the star people with them.
Yes.
You had mentioned the Anunnaki, which was, I believe, if you listen to those stories, that they're basically a representation of the same people, just on different sides of the world.
Yes. They spread out.
Okay.
And even it is actually DNA has been proven, like the Hopi Indians specifically, other Indian tribes too. Sorry, natives. I should say natives.
Right.
But I apologize. I am got part Incan in me, and I'm gonna slap myself for just saying that. Okay. Anyway, moving on. The Hopi Indians always say they're descended from the star people that came from under the ground, and that, and then there's always that theory. Well, the native people came over from the land bridge from Asia,
Right.
and we can do the DNA and track it back, right? But it can't be done. The Hopi Indians can't be tracked to any other group on Earth.
Yeah. See, and I think
And so
the problem with
there's
me
gonna
is that
get to
most
the
people will
point
just
where,
dismiss that.
yeah, but you can't. That's
Right.
That's the thing that pisses me off about science. Is like, no, this is science. You never say no, we're done. You
Right.
never say no, this is the way it is, and it never changes. Like,
Right.
no, this is science. This is history. It's always changing.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, so I don't like when people get dismissive. Yeah.
yeah, and that's what I think is interesting, and that's I judge people all the time because, and it's more about thought processes, and when people just dismiss something because it doesn't fit into their view or whatever, however you want to call it, that is troubling for me. I just I want to be I want to be open-minded and be able to. I'm always like, I will tell you, I love a good puppy video just like everyone else does, or a great human fail reel. I love those just as much as the next person. But generally, when I'm watching videos, like YouTube videos, it's something because I'm wanting to learn, and it's not learn about myself. Yeah. It's learn about the world, about others, about how we interact with time and space.
Yeah, anything I watch, I don't watch like scripted TV and all of that stuff. I'm always just learning something all the time.
What is as your career and as you mature as a psychic empath, has there been anything that's kind of startled you or surprised you along the way?
Well, of course. Like as you grow and go along, and everybody puts that out there, everybody that comes to see me, well, I don't want anything bad to happen to me, I don't want anything negative to latch on to me, blah, blah.
Right.
It's gonna happen. There's good and bad in everything, just like people. You're gonna run into bad people just like you're gonna run into good people. It's just, that's the way it is. So like there have been things that have literally just, like I said, it takes a lot to boggle my mind, where it takes me a very long time, and my mind is like, what the fuck, what, like, and I can't even talk because I'm like, and I'm still, and it takes me a long time to comprehend what happened and what I encountered, because it's something new.
Right.
Or I was attacked by an alien. There's bad sides to aliens too. I had to call in for reinforcements. Like that was a new one that really mind fucked me for a really long time.
So what was the situation that led up to that?
Well, it's a personal journey of mine because of who I am, because I'm a lot of alien and a lot of past lives and a lot of interactions with draconians, or the negative entities. They're part of the reptilians, but there are different reptilians. The draconians are pretty much responsible for any negative thing on this planet, whether it's just I envy you because of what you have, or Ted Bundy, like
right.
Whatever it is, or the wars and all of it. They're behind all of it. Bad spirits, all of it. The way that humans interact, the anger, the violence. So one of those came actually like from its dimension into mine, and it took me a minute to actually figure out it was like here. And then once I did, because I'm me, and I've also worked in medical background and did different things. Like I have the ability to not react when something's happening,
Right.
and to stand my ground, and to like figure it out and like sense it out before, like just because something is ugly or terrifying or screaming at you doesn't mean it's bad. Like you have to feel it out. So as I'm doing this is what I realize is like actually in my face, like actually here. And then I'm like, what do I do? So I literally had to just stand up, like literally face to face with this thing and say what I had to say to it. And then by the time it was all over, like my phone is like flying through the air as I'm like trying to like find it to call my friend who's, on the same level as me as far as like aliens and different things. And and she knows if I'm ever calling, like something happened, because I hate talking on the phone.
Uh-huh.
I just text, and I'm like trying to tell her this. I'm like, oh my gosh. I did draw a picture of it. I did write an article and post it on my website. So, everybody's welcome to read all about it. And I'm an artist, so I just drew what I saw.
And what is your
But
website? We should tell people that so they can go there and look at it. What is your website?
yeah. So everything is the Psychic Empath Raven Willow. Add a .com on that. That's my website. That's my Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Everything's the same name.
Okay. Okay. So they can go look at that. Now, when that so you said that it affected you for a while. How long did it take you to get through that?
Weeks.
It did. Can I ask what was the trouble, or what was the lingering part of it with you?
Well, there was two encounters. The second one is what really took me down, and then my friends had to actually come to me and help me. Like it pretty much rematrixed my mind and put me in a different mind space. And that was the first time I encountered that. I didn't even know that I was under attack, because that was the first time I had ever encountered that.
Uh-huh.
And so until I like reached out to my network, it's either my guides, I call them my God Squad, just funny way because I don't believe in God, but it's either family members or spirit guides or my twin flame who's not in this life but in another, like those people that look after me, from other dimensions. But then I have like the people that I call on that are here that heal me too.
Right.
So yeah, but it took a long time because that was a new one. I was like that's why I'm still like, what the fucking fuck? Like that was just complete, like, yeah, I still don't know what to say about it because I'm just like, I didn't know that could happen. So you learn new things all the time. You just have to have people around you that you trust and that can help you. And
Right.
once you like keep ascending, like that's what they call it. Like you start learning about new things, and especially if you're a star seed and you're ascending that way, more star seeds come into your life. If you're trying to enhance your psychic gifts and you're doing it for good, then more of those people are going to come into your life. Like if you want to get into the dark, dirty side of it, well, then more of those people are going to come into your life.
So is that because of the energy that we're giving off individually?
Yeah, exactly. What you give off is what you get back.
So
think of it just like a druggie. Like if a druggie moves from one city clear across the world to another city, they know how to instantly find those other druggies and those drugs.
Right.
They're attracting energy.
So is that a native energy that we have? Like we either have a good energy or a bad energy that's just who we are, or is it something that can be in flux, that we're a good person one day, we have bad energy the next day?
Well, it just depends on the person. Some people just are running at very low vibration, and that's part of the draconian influence
Right.
is to keep humans at a low vibration, basically like a slave race, because they feed off of all of this negativity.
Right.
So some humans, they're just angry, nasty people, right? They don't want to evolve from that, and that's where they stick. And then when they die, well, that's where your mind, or your energy, still is.
Right.
So that's what you're going to be when you die. So it's important that people understand these things so that they can get past them and understand that life doesn't have to be like that, and it shouldn't be like that.
So what is the biggest thing an individual can do, like myself, to open to become more readily available to accept this? Because if I do, because of the way I interact with people, or however I feel like I can read people's energy, what is the best way for someone like me, or maybe someone that doesn't even see that? Is there a way or somewhere that we can go to help cultivate this and make it appear or make it stronger, depending on where we are?
So one, you just have to trust your gut, and you have to follow it.
Okay.
For your life, literally. And you have to raise your vibration, because once you raise your vibration, you start to raise other people's vibrations. So even though I self-isolate and whatever, when I go out, I'm not on a device. I am literally interacting with people. I'm like, yo, what's up? And then, I go to the pot store, the legal smoke pot where I live. Everybody shut up. I don't want to hear it. But yeah, I know everybody's names. They know mine. I walk in, I'm having conversations with people. Like, if I go to the grocery store, wherever I am, like, I'm making sure to interact with people in a positive way.
Right.
Because there's just too much grouchiness, and then everybody's on a device, and that disconnects you from people completely.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and then everybody lost their mind, and then empaths like me that self-isolate were like, I'm fine, I'm just sitting here chilling while the rest of the world has gone mental.
Yeah.
Like,
And that was funny too, because once again, I mean, and I've always related it to my IQ, because it is difficult to, when you're always talking down to everyone around you, it gets exhausting. I mean, and if anyone is a specialist in something or knows a lot of information, if you start talking to people at length about that and they know nothing about that, it gets exhausting. So when the pandemic hit, I was all excited about, what? You want me to stay inside? Yes, please.
I know. I was like, I have no problem with this whatsoever.
I know. So right now it's funny because, well, not funny. So, and we'll see how it shakes out, because as of tomorrow, when we're recording this, I have an episode coming out where I kind of lay into my work. We had an issue there where everyone came down with COVID last week, except for me.
Yeah.
But they all decided, because it's a small business, that they were going to continue to work. And I mean, they were wearing masks and stuff, but I have a immune system that's compromised because of the shots that I take for my arthritis. So I didn't want to be around. And initially, I was upset because I was mad. Listen to this. I was mad that I couldn't go to work. And then I started thinking about this because of the grouchiness, and I was like, I would be miserable. These sick people, I was like, I need to just enjoy this. Life is too much fun and too enjoyable. I mean, if you just look around, there's beauty everywhere. Well, most everywhere. You look around, there's beauty everywhere. And I the last few days, now I'm like, I have one more day that I'm taking because these people are showing up. So I'm quarantining from the sick people, which is ass backwards, but I'm okay with it now because I started thinking I'm really doing good for myself. I can be alone. I don't need to be with morons.
You
eh,
have to always follow your gut, like whether it's a relationship, family members, friends, job, career. Like, if you just can't stand going to your job every day, you're not on the right path.
yeah.
Like, the universe is screaming at you, slapping you in the face, like, wake the fuck up.
Well, see, and
You know what I'm saying?
here's one of the things that I may have been listening to the universe. So I was talking about how when I was younger, my parents thought I had ADD. And the reason they thought I had ADD was because they said I couldn't hold a job and that I got bad grades in school. However, I usually only went to half a day of school because I would skip the classes I didn't really want to be at. And generally, it was the classes that I was very good at, like mathematics and history and stuff, that I was so far ahead of everyone because I was skipping because there was no reason for me to be there. If I was learning things, then I would be there.
Right.
But and the reason that I couldn't, in their words, keep a job is because if I went to a job and I didn't like the job, it made me unhappy. And I'm not talking, I know that no jobs make you happy. But I'm talking, there's a difference between this is a job, it sucks, but I got to do it, then this is a job that is literally killing me. It's stealing my soul from me. And so what I would do, I would start a job, and if I didn't leave it, if I didn't like it, I would leave it. It had nothing to do with I couldn't keep a job. I wasn't going to put myself in a position that I was miserable. So as we've talked over this last hour, I feel like, not just because we're Libras together, but I feel like, I say this all the time on the podcast, listen to people. Listen to what they say. I have not been formally diagnosed, but there's much thought that I am probably on the spectrum. And if you listen to any of the things that I've said growing up, it's what people say that are on the spectrum or how they act. But the problem is I don't look like someone that's on the spectrum. I don't interact with other people that are like on the spectrum. And that's one reason in the High IQ Society, I get a lot of comments that we like you because you're not like the others here. Because that's just not I'm an extroverted introvert. I like being by myself, but I can also thrive in the company of others. And so,
exactly.
so I think that for a long time I was misdiagnosed with ADD or ADHD. I think there were a lot of things that now, as I grow older, I just turned 56, that I'm able to not only identify more readily, but I now know what I should do if I identify something, how I can cultivate, or maybe if it's something bad, get rid of that. But if it's something that I think that I've become more aware as I become older, which I very much like it. Because like I say, I've always said this about the universe. I tell everyone that I'm a Christian because I grew up a Christian. I believe in Jesus. That's how I was brought up. But if an alien showed up and he said, my name was, they're pronouncing it wrong, it's Jesus or whatever, and he goes, I'm from this planet, I'd be like, okay, I have no problem with it. I mean, I'm not, and I know people will say this doesn't make you a Christian then. I don't have to stick hard and fast to that rule. I mean, I do believe it that's way because that's how I was brought up.
That's the whole thing about history. Even Christians they need to back off of their Bible thing, because the Bible has been edited and re-edited and gutted.
No, it
and
hasn't.
Put this in
No, it
and
hasn't.
Take that
No, it
out
hasn't. No, it hasn't.
multiple times.
No.
Yeah,
It was someone closed their eyes and put a pen in their hand and boom, they had a Bible. I'm just kidding. I know people that say that. I agree. I'm not. I say that all the time. I'm like, so you think that men are corrupt, but the people that put the Church of Nicaea or whoever put the canon together that became the New Testament, which from what I understand, the New Testament was fully finished before the Old Testament was actually canonized, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I am not a. So here's a question that I have real early on. When Cain killed Abel, he left the Garden of Eden and went to the next town over and got married. which seems weird if you're the children of the first person on the planet. But people will just they just disregard that, and I'm like, I just want you to how is it so easy for you to dismiss that, but then your beliefs, you're like, well, the Bible can't be wrong. And see, here's another thing where people will get upset with me. I'm like, well, Cain didn't really murder Abel, and they're like, yeah, he did. I go, no, he didn't, because why would he have any idea that if he hit him with a rock, I don't know how he killed him, why would he not think that he's going to wake up? There would be no baseline that he would think that if I do this action, that this is going to be the reaction, that my brother is going to be dead. It's
just sad to me as a history nerd that actual people's histories and histories of the universe have just been gutted and skewed to the point where the poor people's actual stories from all of these different places, you're like, they're not even their stories anymore. It's sad.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, they come out with the book of Enoch, which has a lot more.
There's a lot of extraterrestrial stuff in it.
It does. So let's just dismiss that one. And that's what I think is funny also, because I'm like, so you don't believe in aliens? They're like, no. And I'm like, but you believe in angels? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. I mean, once again, I don't understand that disconnect where.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's the whole thing of history is always going to change. Even if you're a Christian or a Muslim or whatever, your history is still changing. You're not living like the people lived in the Bible.
Yeah.
You don't have that life that they're describing.
Yeah. Especially,
times are different.
Yeah, they are. And, yeah, it's interesting. I actually have like 4 pages written in my notebooks about religion, and in fact, the very first video podcast that I'm going to do, we were thinking about discussing religion. We're probably not going to do that because there are a lot of questions that, like I say, I just find it hard to believe that. I'm fine if you have belief. I totally get that. Having belief in something that maybe there's nothing tangible that can show. Like I believe in the love that me and my wife share. So and it's like if I tried to explain my love, it would be weird trying to say that. So so when people have very strong beliefs, I'm fine with that, but it's funny that they can dismiss other things because it's like, that your beliefs sound crazier than these beliefs, right? So
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, I never get into like religious discussions with people because the only problem I have with religion is one, people following something blindly just because some human said it,
right?
Which is not the way you should be living your life. You should be following your own instincts and being on your own enlightenment path. But I know too much, especially Christian history and just the slaughter that has taken place all over the world,
right?
In the name of, and so I don't want to be associated with anything to do with it. I don't like it. I don't approve, but I do back, if that's what you believe. Like, my neighbors are very much Muslim and I consider myself pagan, and we go out in the backyard and have barbecues all the time.
Right.
So, like, as long as you're not hurting anybody, I don't care what you do.
Yeah. I agree with that. So, Raven, what do you see? What is in the immediate future for not only you, but do you see anything for the rest of the human race in the immediate future? Is there anything that you may be able to glean a little light on that we should be aware of that's upcoming?
All of the chaos that's going on in the world right now, and there is a lot. It's important for people to remember to keep their own individual vibrations, self-love and self-care, going, because even that tiny example is an example of somebody else to raise their vibrations. It's important because love is the tiniest voice, but it's the most powerful thing.
Right.
So we have to keep spreading that. And that's the only way to conquer these things and get rid of these old institutions that don't work and, make the world a better place. Like, we shouldn't be burning fossil fuels anymore. We haven't needed to ever, actually.
Yeah.
But people wanted to be rich, So these are things that we need to actively be changing as people.
Right. Yeah. Because I don't think we won't survive as a race. I mean, I've said that quite often when people talk about the human race time traveling. I go, oh, we'll kill ourselves way before we figure that thing out. So, and that's a concern because you had mentioned the pandemic broke a lot of things. I think you had mentioned as well, phones, everyone's disconnected from one another right now. And the other thing that I find is that, you and I think we seek truth. We want truth no matter what that is. And unfortunately, truth has kind of become a byproduct now where you have an emotional truth where, oh, I feel like this is true. Well,
right.
And
people need to watch their gang up culture as well. Like, I don't know, I'll just use an old example. Maybe people don't remember this case, but remember Casey Anthony?
Yeah.
We all know she killed her little girl. She got away with it. Whatever. She
Right.
had a good lawyer, whatever. But the mob that showed up at her family's home
Right.
and was beating on their door and yelling and screaming and this crazy, these poor people just lost their granddaughter. Their daughter is in trouble for it, so they're trying to reconcile that in their brain. And they're under extreme duress. And what the hell are you people doing? Like, people need to just stop with the anger.
Well, I always have to remind people that 1 in 5 people in the United States are so stupid the United States military will not take them. Because there's an IQ minimum of 83. And the reason they have that is because in a time of war, if there was an existential crisis and they needed to do a draft, they needed to be able to sort people quickly. And IQ is going to...
Okay, well, I'm going to play dumb if that ever happens.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so if you're below 83, they've basically said that you are too stupid to do any job that they have in the military. So yes, that would be a good way. Instead of faking like Donald Trump that he had bunions or bone spurs or bad feet or whatever he said, you could use a different tact and say, oh, well, I have an 82 IQ. And then they'll be like, sorry, you can't go to war. And then you'll be able to be happy the rest of the day. So,
dude, Forrest Gump got to go to war.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's...
I love that movie.
I do too. Yeah. So, hey, Raven, it was so nice to finally get to talk to you. I think next time we talked about this, one of the many times that we tried to get going. But next time, I would love to have you back on the show, and I hope to have video going by that time.
By the way, it's up to you. Everybody that I podcast, I give a free reading to because it's important that I prove myself.
Uh-huh.
But it will be on video.
Okay.
But it's completely up to you. I just need a picture, your date of birth, and your legal born name in this life.
Yeah.
If you want your Akashic record.
Yeah.
Steve can email me that stuff.
So can I ask you a question? As an adoptee, does that make a difference? Like I was adopted. I mean, so does that make and I've met my biological mom. I think I know who she's told me who my biological dad is. There's been testing. I haven't met him, so I don't really know, but we're going to assume that I know who, but I don't. But does that ever make a difference? Would that make a difference? Like if you're doing a reading for someone?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
Just whatever your birth certificate says, that's good enough.
Okay. That'd be awesome.
Whatever your parents called you, that's fine.
Okay. Well, that was Rod, which a lot of people are like, why do you go by Ro? And it's because the only people that called me Rod were my parents, and that's when they were mad at me. And I always told teachers, because they would be like, oh, do you go by Rod? And I'd always be like, if you're going to shorten it, you can shorten it to Ro. So And it sucks. But I can't wait. And I didn't even get to some of the questions that I had originally had for you, because I'm not sure that I wrote them in a way that would elicit I'm not sure that it was a fully formed thought. And after talking to you now, I think I can go back and readdress my notes, because I do think I have a ton of other questions for you. And so I really hope that you'll come back to the program and be on again.
Yeah, I'll do part 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't care.
Okay.
I had so much fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And I want to say thank you again I know that we tried to get this started 4 or 5 times. I don't know where the letdown was on my soundboard, but I'm glad that we were able to get this done and get this recorded. It was such a pleasure talking to you. It was such a pleasure talking, because I love talking about, there are a lot of things that I don't have. I'm going to stop again. This is why people will join like societies like I do, is so that we can have conversations at a level that neither one of us feels like we're really talking down. And you may have felt like you're talking down to me, but you didn't show it. So I very much appreciate that. But I feel like we were able to talk, and it's been such a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, I never talk down to anybody, but unless you're doing something offensive to me, and then watch out. But otherwise, I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Cool.
well, that shows right there how much better you are than me, because I talk down to people constantly. I mean, and I know it's a horrible trait, but I just, like I say, sometimes you get tired and you just don't want to put up with shit. And I want to say as a human, I feel bad about that, but I don't, because then I'm caring more about that person, how they feel, than I care about how I feel. And
Exactly.
and unfortunately, I know. Sorry.
I'm a healer. I'm a healer. Why would I be talking negatively to anybody?
I know. And I'm the breaker, because to have a healer, you have to have someone that's going to break stuff. So you're welcome. I'm not sure that's how you wanted to end this, going, oh, so he's breaking people for me. Great. So, but yeah, so I'm glad that I always tell people that you can't enjoy the sunshine if you don't have the rain. So, so in this scenario, you're the sunshine and I'm the rain. You're welcome. So.
Okay, well, recommend everybody come get fixed from me then.
Okay, I will.
You broke them, I'll fix them.
That's what is it? I break them, you fix them. That's great. I'm coming out with a line of T-shirts anyway, so that'll be a great one to put on there. So for everyone else that's been listening to the show, remember, this is Raven Willow. She is the psychic empath, and it is psychic-empath-ravenwillow.com, or the same at for TikTok and Instagram. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything's the same name.
Okay. So psychic empath Raven Willow. So Raven, thank you again so much for being on the podcast.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I will see you soon.
Yeah, it was so much fun. So for everyone else, thank you for listening to the Stone Genius podcast. This was so much fun to talk to Raven. I hope to have her on again next time, and we'll get to see each other, which... Yeah. So we'll get to see each other, and I'm looking forward to that. So thank you again for being on the podcast. Thank you for everyone that's been listening to the podcast. Remember, go out and share. This is a great one. I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks for listening.
Okay. Bye, everybody.